Welcome to the Houston Hustle, the podcast that spotlights the movers, the makers, and the doers shaping the city we love. Each week, we sit down with Houston's top entrepreneurs to talk who they are, how they built it, the principles that drive them, and what success means beyond the highlight reel. This is real hustle, real stories, real Houston. Welcome to the Houston Hustle. I'm Dr. Paige Ward.
I'm Dr. Charlie Ward.
And today we have our guest, Eric Klenofsky with SetGK. So Eric, tell everyone who you are and what you do.
I'm the co-founder and co-owner of SetGK. We are the most interconnected goalkeeper glove brand in the world. And that's what I do. I recently retired from professional coaching and now I run SetGK.
So what started you into wanting to do this? Because I've been wondering that.
Yeah. That's a question that we get pretty often. So I was a goalkeeper for Toronto FC's second team in Canada in 2019. And I was jogging around the field and I looked down at my gloves and I was like, I can do this way better. And I also was in just kind of like a big ocean of like a big goalkeeper glove brand. And I didn't really feel like I had too much control or autonomy to change the gloves or change how the brand was operating in any way. And I just felt like it should be a little bit more for the people, by the people type thing. So that was like one of my thought processes. And I was like, everybody spouts goalkeeper union constantly. Goalkeeper union, this, that, this. And I'm like, well, what does that actually mean? So I'm going to make a goalkeeper union and the gloves are going to be the vehicle and we're going to all connect, which I think, there's a lot of people out there doing awesome things in the goalkeeper glove space. We just do it a little bit different where the gloves are the starting point of a transformational relationship versus just a sole transaction.
Very cool. So this has been in the process for a while then that you've been thinking about this.
Yes. So 2019 was when I kind of like really formulated some ideas with my business partner, Renier Lopez. We met when we were like 11 playing recreational soccer.
That's
crazy. Yeah. But I also had kind of like a moment before that with my assistant coach at Monmouth in college where I did a lot of stuff in college where I was like sports editor for the school newspaper, vice president for the student athlete government type thing. And I was just doing everything.
Building up that resume.
Yeah, building a resume. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I need stuff. His name is Huey McDonald. And he looked at me one day and he was like, I have no idea what you're going to do after you're done with soccer, but it's going to be cool. Or like inspirative. It's going to be really impactful. And he just kind of like planted an abundance seed in my brain. Cause like then I went, well, I wonder what I'm going to do. And then for like the next handful of years, I just kind of like every now and again, I would just ponder, what did he mean by that? And then I keep trying to find the answer to that question. Like maybe this is what I'm going to do,
Yeah. I mean, I feel like this brand has exploded recently. I mean, because as you know, our daughter, she's a goalkeeper, and I hadn't heard of SetGK. Obviously, it's relatively new, right? And all of a sudden it was like everywhere. So, I mean, you're doing a good job.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah. I think since we're all big Alex Ramosi fans here, if anybody knows what key man risk is, we absolutely have key man risk. So, from 2020, when we kind of like opened doors to this past December, everybody has been part-time. So nobody gives full-time effort to SetGK. We have an ownership team or had an ownership team of 7 and now we have 6 or 8 and now we have 7, something like that, with like a handful of minority owners. But everybody was part-time. Everybody was either a professional soccer player currently, or, my business partner works in finance, or I was coaching professionally. So nobody was giving full-time effort. And, at the end of 2025, I was like, I'm going to put my foot on the gas and see where this thing goes, which really aligns with where I want to be as a father and a husband.
Yeah.
So, there was a time last year where I had an away game and then did a U.S. youth national team camp and then had an away game right after that. And I'm like, this is just not who I want to be. I feel like my whole soul is going to this job and back to like building someone else's dream that's not mine. And the dream that I had was I want to be in control of our time and I want to impact, really positively. And I didn't feel like I could do that as well as I thought I should. So Lindsay and I came to the conclusion that I needed to make a change.
I love that. I mean, you have small kids. I've seen them. They're twins, right?
They are twins. Yeah.
They're super cute.
Yeah.
And obviously being present, especially in these very young years, is important. So I kind of wondered when I had heard that you left and started your own family, I wonder if it's partially because he has that freedom then to be there for his family.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, absolutely. That's like the starting point of everything is, how do I support the family? And I think, if I can worry about what's going on in my home first, then I'll worry about everything after that. But I'm going to be really concerned about what's going on in my home first and making sure that that is taken care of, because when that's taken care of, it's much easier for me to, you know, wake up early, run to a coffee shop and grind and work and, do that kind of thing. When I'm worried about like, man, I haven't been a present father enough, that just eats at me, and I don't want to live with regrets. The regret that I chose to have is, maybe my coaching career never went as high as I could have been from a professional perspective, but I'm never going to regret that I wasn't a present enough father. I'm not going to do that.
I love that.
Thanks.
So
Good priority.
absolutely, absolutely. So what's your biggest marketing tactic right now? Because the goalkeeper world is pretty big. I know a lot of people probably don't know that, but it is. So how are you approaching this?
Biggest marketing tactic. Well, I'm not the marketing guru. Rainier, my business partner, is the marketing guru, but a lot of us were working in college soccer when the NIL stuff started to come about. Name, image, and likeness, if you guys aren't familiar, which is basically like a college kid being able to get paid for their brand. So we started our ambassador program pretty closely aligned to when NIL was like released in like 2020, 2021. And for a long period while we were, everybody was part-time other than me now. The ambassador program is really what kind of differentiated us in the marketplace and also what kept us alive. Like there were times where, the numbers were not doing great because, you with the dash, I mean, for example, last year I was working from like 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And then I'd come home and then I would still have work to do. So like, you're given, I don't know, 5 to 10 hours a week to SetGK if you can, versus now I'm, doing like 50 to 60 to, yeah. So like,
Why it's exploded.
yeah, exactly. It's like you just have, more time to give more effort. And we also, this very rare thing in the goalkeeper glove space of I just kind of felt like a number in this goalkeeper glove brand previously. And there was no like interconnectivity that I felt. So I was like, okay, I have this whole mantra of like, let's bring us together and create a union behind these gloves. But everything is remote and we never meet each other unless when we play against each other. So, for a long time, I would say to Rainier, I'm like, we got to get everybody in person. We got to get everybody in person. So this past December, we did the SetGK Pro Experience event in Panama City Beach, Florida. And we flew as many of our pros that wanted to come in as possible. We know every pro knows that they're training in some capacity in the off season. Generally, it's with maybe the one or two other pros in your city. Maybe you have, a coach that is of a certain standard with you. And everybody's doing that wherever their hometowns are, around the country, because that's kind of the only time of the year that you get to go home, really. So I was like, let's just put everybody in the same spot and we can provide, high quality training and provide, a chance for coaches to come and grow and also provide a really good value for maybe young goalkeepers to learn from all these pros in the same place. And then, hopefully it grows into some crazy convention of sorts. And I don't know where it's going to go. I'm just going to go fast and go there.
No, I absolutely love that. So you don't know where it's going to go, but in your ideal world, where would it go?
I've been asked this question actually before. And I think if best case scenario would be that I would love to take as many of our ownership team with me full time. So I think a lot of people involved in SetGK would love to be full time. And I want to make that possible so that they can kind of build their dreams and paint their own picture of what their lives could be within SetGK. And, a lot of us, if you're a full-time goalkeeper coach or you're a full-time professional soccer player, for most of your career, you've been handcuffed to a very specific schedule. You've been handcuffed to a very specific location. Our head of product design, Anthony Ferrara, he lives in Stockholm. Okay. So, he is also like a main stakeholder in, the growth of SetGK. And he's a professional soccer player and has been for a very long time. But he's from Boston, Massachusetts. He's, building a life over in Sweden. But I would love to, help to give him the legs to just be with SetGK full time if that's what he ever wants to do, So that's what success would look like for me over the next couple of years.
I love that.
And you've partnered a lot with youth soccer programs recently to help get your brand out and more aware. And I think that's helped it grow quite a bit.
Yeah, I think trying to support youth goalkeeper coaches and youth goalkeepers in general, that's like what it's all about, right? It's like, how do we bridge the gap between where the pros are and where the youth goalkeepers are trying to be? And I also think like my whole energy about life and, how I talk to people or how I don't, how I treat people and how I persist and how I manage adversity. I think a lot of that that muscle has been flexed from years of development in the sport and passion that I have, and I don't think I'm like, wow, what would I be if I didn't have this kind of like passion that I was chasing my whole life? I don't think that I would be as, equipped to manage stress that I am right now. Like things get hard and generally I'm generally very stoic about them. At times my mom is like, this is not a time to be stoic. You can show emotion. And I
Okay to freak out.
yeah,
Right?
it's okay. And I'm just like, I don't know how that's gonna help us. So I don't know why I would, So yeah, trying to support goalkeepers and goalkeeper coaches how they've never been supported before or in a very unique way is what we're trying to do, which is why if I put all the coaches and all the goalkeepers and all the pros in the same spot, hopefully it turns into something that's very positive. I think more people should do it. I think more brands should try to bring all their pros into the same spot, and then our sale would be less unique, but I think it'd be better for everybody.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And there's room for everybody at the top.
For
Right?
sure, for sure. The market is huge.
So you said that prior to this, you were spending, you were working your job and then you're spending like 5 to 10 hours a week on SetGK. So what has been the most challenging aspect for you switching to being like full time with SetGK?
Oh yeah, I think there's this naive ness to yeah, I feel like there's this naiveness that you like time to set my own schedule now that I run my thing. It's like there's no schedule. I mean, there's general framework, but I could be out doing whatever. And if I have an opportunity to, help somebody or, connect to people or maybe, grow the business from a sales perspective, like it's incredibly difficult for me to look away from that. But that's also a muscle that I need to flex of understanding when is right to switch it off and when is not right to switch it off, which I'm actively working through. And I'm a month and, 13 days into full-time world. Like I don't have it figured out. I don't pretend to. It's going to be a long time before I figure it out, but I don't know if I ever will. But Lindsay and I will actively evolve it based on the current needs of our family and the current needs of what SetGK needs from us. And that's how we'll do it. We plan on homeschooling the kids. So, them being flexible with us is really important. So yeah, it all kind of is intertangled.
I love that. So I know you like to listen to Alex, just like we do.
Yeah, Alex, our friend.
So, yes, our friend Alex.
That's right. Yeah, let it drop.
Yeah.
So obviously you're working on like business mindset too. So how much do you feel like your mindset impacts what you're doing?
Oh, I mean, an exceptional amount. I think my mindset is probably one of my main differentiators is that I don't know, I don't know where it comes from. Probably like education over the course of my life, but probably some natural, I don't know, genes that come from my family of some kind. My mom's side of the family, there have been a handful of challenges, and there's a handful of challenges in everybody's family. But my mom's maiden name is Greer. And when there are challenges, people refer to that on my mom's side of the family as career mode. Career mode. You just go into career mode and then you go. Career mode can also be described as like if one of my family members walks into your house and starts rearranging your kitchen to clean it up because it's not clean enough.
My gosh,
Something like yeah, like not saying I did that, but that would be career mode. Where, like you just walk in and like
this is all wrong.
yeah, and just like suddenly you feel motivated to help solve something, but you're really not solving anything. This incredibly. I had a bad thought.
Yeah, for our listeners, when he came in and Eric came in, he was like, what if you switch everything around? So it's the other way. And we tried it. And then he had a big shadow
Yeah.
from this nice bar here over his face. So
Yeah.
it didn't end up working out, but it was fun.
You make aggressive mistakes.
Yeah,
That's right. Aggressive mistakes.
You come from a line of entrepreneurs, is that correct? Or
Not really. I mean, I guess from time to time, my mom, she went to Pratt Institute in New York City, did some fashion designing stuff. But for most of my life was a stay-at-home mother. And then later on in my like young teenage years, started a business called Sewing by Susan. But my dad was a maintenance supervisor for the NTA in New York City Transit. So like managed kind of like bus systems and stuff like that. Not too much entrepreneurial stuff on that side of the family. On my mom's side, there is like my aunt is a professional musician. My uncles are in aeronautics and like planes and stuff like that. They have ran their own businesses at times, but I wouldn't say it's like this thing that I was just kind of like born into. I definitely have some like belief and like leaps and bounds. Like I absolutely need Lindsay. Like without Lindsay, like having the belief in me to like get this done, it would be really, really tough, really, really tough. But then also like, you know, everybody else in my family going like, you know, there's anybody that's going to get this right. Surely you're going to get it right. But still, you know, you still have the man in the mirror.
Yeah.
Right. You have the man in the mirror that's like, well, what if this, what if that? And, you know, the fight between the abundance mindset and the scarcity mindset is it's real, you know,
Very real.
but also, you know, you just need to try, like just try your hardest and good things happen. So like where we were in January, where we are in February right now from a SetGK perspective, like I would never dream that it's going as like, you know, I make conservative estimates because I think my first goal is to be protector and provider for the family. So I'm like, in worst case scenario, what happens? Can I solve the problems if this happens? You know, but yeah, I mean, what we did last February, 2025, we've already surpassed that on February 3rd. So that's because a lot of people's effort, not just mine. So.
Tracking that is super important. But something you said, I know I'm not trying to make this into an Alex or Mosey episode, but I had listened to one recently where he's talking about, I don't know if you've heard this episode, the cost of things. So like if you went to a amusement park or whatever, and you were like, you could ride this really cool ride or this other ride that you don't want to ride, and they're all costs $10. Or there's this one that you kind of want to ride, but you're kind of scared to ride it. And he's like, everything is going to cost $10. But like one is going to suck. You're not going to like it. One, you know, you're going to like it. One, like you really want to try it. It might push you way outside your comfort zone. Mm-hmm. Everything is going to cost the same amount. So everything's going to be hard. It's hard to be in something that like, you know, you're employed and you're not the boss and you don't set your own schedule. Sure. It's also hard to be in something where you are growing your own thing. So it's like, you just choose what kind of hard you want to have. Mm-hmm. And that's also what you're doing.
Yeah, I've got we have a whiteboard in our room. I'm sure you guys have whiteboards all over your house somewhere. On that whiteboard somewhere, it says, being poor is hard. Being rich is hard. Choose your hard.
Yes. Choose your hard.
That's on the whiteboard. And then right underneath that line on the whiteboard, it says something like, everybody loves the mountain and nobody loves the climb.
It's true.
So yeah, I mean, last year, I would say most weeks probably averaged like 3 to 5 hours. And I was like, I got to change something here. I'm not going to die here.
Right.
You know, this is not going to end well. And so I made a change, you know, but yeah.
Do you have a word for the year?
A word for the year?
Yes.
No, I don't have it.
Oh, you have to set a word for the year.
Why a word for the year?
It's like your theme.
Okay.
So like last year ours was abundance. Mm-hmm. This year ours is growth. Mm-hmm. And it's like your theme that you just like kind of repeat to yourself, and this is going to be our word.
We've got some themes. So on New Year's Eve every year, Lindsay and I, not literally on New Year's Eve, we buy 6 champagne bottles from Costco.
Okay.
And we just, after the boys go to sleep, we tell them it's New Year's at like 7:30.
Well, yeah, of course.
And then they go to bed. And then we just spend the rest of the time painting the bottles with our goals for the year.
What?
Yeah. So then as we hit the goal, we pop the bottle.
Wait, this is so cool. I love that so much.
Yeah. So we don't have one word. We got 6 bottles on the top of the fridge.
Are you guys artistic, or is this like, what does this art look like?
It's not good. It's not very good. I mean, Lindsay's are far better than mine. Yeah. I'm just going to write a number on here and move on.
Nice, I like it.
You know, and yeah, that's it. I think that probably stemmed off like reading Think and Grow Rich. I don't know if you've ever read that book.
I have not read that one.
I read that book like 3 times before I got it.
Really?
Yeah, and for a long time in the book, it just talks about like this secret that you don't really know until it hits you in the face, and then it hits you in the face. And it took me 3 times to hit me in the face.
Okay, I did now, obviously.
Yeah, well. Let me know after you read 3 times.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever. However long it takes.
Do you feel like you've always had some level of entrepreneurial spirit? Yeah.
Yeah. I had a paper route when I was like 11 or 12 years old. I also read a book called A Millionaire Next Door.
Okay.
And it's like the average millionaire in the United States has had a paper route.
Yeah, no, it's like, true.
Yeah.
It's true. When you say paper route, I'm like, oh my God.
Paper route, 12 years old, Wednesdays and Sunday mornings. I would deliver this Wednesdays at 4:30, Sunday by 9. I turned all of those newspaper people into people I shoveled their driveway. Yeah, that was it. But it wasn't like my head was on soccer, you know?
Yes.
So that was always like a byproduct of like, okay, how do I get cleats or how do I get gloves or whatever? So yeah, I mean, when the snow fell and we had a snow day, like everybody went one direction and I went straight to Mr. Feller's house and shoveled that driveway because I knew he was going to pay me the most. And yeah, that's what I did. And yeah, I think the soccer player and entrepreneurial spirit, like I think they're a little bit conflicting, like being an employee of like a club. And but yeah, I just had this natural proclivity to athletics and goalkeeping specifically. And then I think as I transitioned out of playing, I was like, I need to still like lead my own world, but I didn't really know how,
Yeah.
you know? So I figured that I would be pretty good at coaching and I feel that I am, but then I excelled in that field fast. And then I got to the NWSL and I'm like, I'm 30. Like, where's the rest of it?
Right. What now?
Like now what? And sure, I could have, tried to chase it and get to the, US national team, first team, or try to get into MLS or try to go over to Europe or whatever. But I also had 2 kids in the way.
Yeah.
And I was like, I budgeted for 1. So what's going on here? Love both of you guys. But yeah, like that was in 2023. And at that time I was like, I have this, skill as a coach, but I don't think it's ever going to support the family and the life that I envisioned for us.
Yeah.
So like all of 2023, mostly I was just like reading sales books like a monster. While I was like, showing up on the field, like, let's kick some balls here, guys, which I care deeply about impacting young people and coaching. Like I love that.
Mhm.
It's just not my whole day,
Yeah.
So yeah, while I was on a road trip with the Dash, in like early 2024, I was sat next to a guy in an airport who just like looked like he was made of money. And I was like, hey, what do you do?
That's so smart.
And he owned like this big freight forwarding company. I have no idea what it is. It's just like connecting like a manufacturer with a supplier and like getting the trucking there. And I said, hey, like I have like some interest in sales. Like, would you let me just like be commission? And so like I was doing SetGK, doing some coaching courses, trying to learn how to do freight forwarding and I sold nothing. I sold fully nothing. Like on my off days, I was like driving around brickyards in Houston and going like, hey, I do this. Like I know how to do this. And my like level of social like equity in that field, it was like, I mean, I walk up to a brickyard and they're like, that's a soccer coach. That's not, nobody looks at me and goes like, this guy can fix that or whatever, So yeah, I mean, total fail in the sense of money being made, but like the amount of skills that I learned from doing that, yeah, it's
That is
fantastic. And it pushed me out of the comfort zone. It made me super nervous. I reached out to like a ton of people in the sales world and like, I'm going to retire from coaching. And then, at the end of all those feelings kind of in like 23, early 24, then I get this full-time contract offer, a 2-year deal from the Houston Dash. And I'm like, there's enough money to satiate me for a period of time. And then I just, I grew to that number again. And I'm like, there's got to be more to life,
always chasing the next thing.
Yeah. Which I mean, everybody's addicted to something, right? So
I think that's good. Our goal is never, like I've said before, it's never arriving. It's like always the journey, right? So
yeah.
like, how else can we grow? How else can we push ourselves? And find something you're passionate about, obviously, and that you have impact on. And speaking of, what do you want your impact to be?
My impact, what do I want it to be? I want everybody to feel like that I did good, that I was helped people,
Yeah.
that the world was better because I was here. I don't have, I guess, really clear thoughts about what I want my impact to be outside of like, I want to build interconnectivity. I want to help people. I want to be transformational in the way that I approach relationships and, my coaching and the business and all that. Like really try to stay away from, we're happy if this happens and we're sad if that happens or we're angry if that happens. It's a spectrum and we're on a process of growth. But that I want to be transformational, I guess would be.
I feel like, well, you have this background with soccer and you played at a high level. So some of those skills that you learned, do you feel like some of that translates then into business owning? Because I mean, you have the discipline then, right? And you've been in competition of like ups and downs of that.
Mhm.
So you feel like that's transferred?
Oh yeah, I think my special quality, outside of being huge, for a goalkeeper, right? Like that's like, yeah, like
How tall are you?
I'm 6'6". Yeah. So,
so short of 6'7".
yeah, I don't get it. So, yeah, I think my special quality as a youth goalkeeper growing up was my love for the position and my desire to grow and being a student of the game because I never made, back when ODP was a little bit more of a thing or a stakeholder in the youth soccer landscape. Like I never made the Olympic development program. I didn't make the New York Red Bulls Academy when I was a child. And I just kind of stuck with the same club from like U11 to like U18, and then I went to college. Me being successful was not because, I was this unbelievable athlete. I was pretty good everywhere, but then I just outworked a lot of people, and I outgrinded a lot of people. So, in that same way, I've flexed that muscle for a long time. And I think, that's what drives me to get up early in the morning and stay late, and you just figure it out until it's solved, or you keep training until you fix it, or
No, I love that.
that kind of thing. And thankfully, my business partner Rainier is a very similar thought process. We're like, you know, two sides of the same coin, but we're like different sides of that coin.
Yeah.
So like this is me, and he's like, please don't put me on a podcast. But he can fix like, all the problems that I can't fix in the business. I can do, the strategy and the connections and help assessing whether we should go this direction or that direction. But, I have no motivation to set up a bank account or, do all the business top stuff. Yeah. Yin and yang.
Good to have that balance and synergy though, and it'll help your business grow even more. So
Oh yeah. I mean, Rainier for a long time as I was pushing, growth in coaching, he's what kept the engine going. It's like I'm the arms running and Rainier's the legs, you just see the top half of the body or like, the duck in the pond.
Yeah.
Where you just see the head and the feet are going nuts. And yeah, I think that's a pretty good analogy.
Have you ever seen the movie Dumb? No.
Oh yeah.
All I could think of was that.
Yeah.
Okay. Fun question for you, real quick. How long have you been in Houston? Did you grow up in Houston?
No, March of
Okay,
March of 22. Lindsay and I met at goalkeeper training when we were 11 in New Jersey.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
Is she a goalkeeper?
she was for a period of time, but yeah, Rainier, my business partner, Lindsay, and I all played on the same club team when we were 11. So Lindsay was on like the girls team, and Rainier and I were on the boys team, and yeah, that's.
Are your kids going to be goalkeepers?
Oh, I have no proclivity or like I have no care whatsoever. I want them, we talk about impact. Like I want them to be, impactful, helping society. I want them to be happy. I want to feel like they have value outside of whatever their skill set is.
Yeah.
A lot of my challenges as a player was, I feel like my self-worth rises and falls as my performance rise and fall, which is a very dangerous thing that a lot of young athletes and young people get into. And even me now as a business owner, I'm sure you guys feel this too.
Yeah.
As, sales are rolling, you feel like everything's great, and sales are not rolling, and you're like, wow, this is not good. Yeah, I gotta get back to work. It's really hard to take your foot off the gas or not be doing something if you've not hit your goals already.
Absolutely. I feel like, have you ever seen there's like a chart and it's like a graph and it'll be like business owning and it goes like, I am doing so good. Like I'm going to be rich. And it's like, I'm going to be bankrupt. And it's like, I'm getting successful. And it's like, I need to find a different job.
Yeah.
And I feel like that is business owning at its finest. You're going to have ups and downs with it. And everybody goes through hard aspects of it. It's just like, can you keep
Stamina? Yeah, the stamina, and yeah, I think you just got to have the will. I guess. I mean, again, very very new to it. Yeah, I wouldn't have jumped into something that I didn't believe deeply in.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
your gloves are great quality. Our daughter loves those.
Yes. And I think also your personality, like you are very personable, very outgoing. So that's going to take you always. I mean, she came here to see you, which I mean, for Kaylin to get out of bed,
It takes
her day off.
yeah.
Takes a lot. So, and the impact will continue to grow for sure.
Yeah, I think Kaylin's like a great example. I think the first time that I met her, it was, she was at X level, and every time I see her, whether it's her energy or her skills, it's just like growing like you throw gasoline on a fire, and I think that's really more purposeful for me than working with 3 or 4 goalkeepers in the professional game. And those games are much more marginal, and it's harder to see.
Yeah.
Because trying to take a 28-year-old goalkeeper from, this to that. It's like very small, which is great. It's good. But like to see a child's motivation and passion like light up as they realize that they're good at something and that they have the ability to learn, that has way more value. Because the truth is, 1% of 1% of 1% is going to have a career in professional sports. This is a vehicle for all of them to become, self-sustaining individuals that produce for society.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there's a lot of benefits to sports in general.
Yeah.
Between the competition, being disciplined, the hard work that has to go in. And so all those carry on beyond the field or the pushes society forward by performing hard like that. So
yeah, it's a vehicle to develop, right? Like that's what I wanted, and I want SetGK to continue to be. It's a vehicle for anybody that comes into it. When we sign a new pro or when we sign a coach on, I go, hey, how can I support you as an individual based on what you're doing and your goals? Like, what can we do? And it's like, okay, you have like Anthony, for example. Anthony, our head of product design, he came on as just a sponsored pro. And I said, hey, do you have any interest in doing anything else within a company? And he's like, I'm pretty creative and I'm interested in like trying to design the gloves.
Oh,
and that was like 5 years ago.
That's so
and now he's like, on the cusp of like making it his main thing.
and who better to design gloves than goalkeepers?
Yeah, right. You think that would be like a crazy thought process.
Weird, right? Wild.
Yeah.
Well, for our viewers who want to get in touch with you, what's the best way?
You can email me at eric@setgk.com. You can head to our Instagram at SetGK team. And that's the same for our Twitter and the same for our YouTube and same for our Facebook. So.
And for people who might be listening who have goalkeepers, do you have any upcoming events?
Oh, we have a million events. So in Houston, we do Pure Soccer Sundays. So Sunday from 5 to 7 p.m., I'll be, doing video analysis and goalkeeper training with a select few up there. Also, if you are trying to get to college, we do goalkeeper-specific college recruiting service through SetGK Pathways. And then we've got spring break camp coming in Houston from March 9th to the 11th.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on our show.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it. This has been awesome.
Thank you.
We'll see you guys next week. You've been listening to Houston Hustle, celebrating the entrepreneurs who are shaping our city. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone building their own dream. Until next time, keep building, keep learning, and keep hustling.